Back now for our final segment on this special edition of Try It Today as we report on the state of public instruction in the state of North Carolina. And we've already heard from State Superintendent June Atkinson, and we talked about career and technical education. There's so many things to talk about and to try to squeeze into a half hour. But one thing we want to do before we close is talk about parents and their involvement and how we can keep them informed. And our special guest right next to me, Rebecca Garland, comes to us again from the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction, where she's Chief Academic Officer. And welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Thanks for making the trip.
Thanks for having me.
What do parents need to know about the changes that are taking place in public schools? We hear all sorts of things going on.
There is a lot of change happening at one time. And believe it or not, we did think about whether or not it was too much change at once. But in the end, we decided that if you really want to see significant results, you don't do it around the edges. So the main things that parents should be aware of: we have new standards. In fact, Dr. Atkinson explained some of those changes with the Common Core in reading and mathematics, but we also have new standards in every other content that we teach.
Right.
So all of our content is being refreshed with the notion that we want our students to be career and college ready. So new standards meant new assessments. So this past spring, our students did indeed have new assessments in reading and in mathematics and in biology in 5th and 8th grade science. Those are the assessments that we use for our accountability.
And how do you keep parents informed of this and understand? Because I know a lot of this would be over my head.
We have a great partnership with the PTA. When we made the change to Common Core state standards, when the State Board adopted them, we partnered with the PTA and actually worked with their members across the state so that PTA parents themselves could work with their co-parents to understand what Common Core is.
That's great.
And we've also done a lot of webinars. We've gone to meetings across the state.
Really given a
Anytime
lot of
we're
access
invited.
to keep them in the loop.
Oh, we want parents in the loop.
Well, now, you had something in an email again. I'm trying to think back to this particular email you sent, and it's something called, you said, ask me about Homebase. What is that?
Okay, Homebase is a new technology system that we are rolling out statewide. If you'll remember, North Carolina got the $400 million with Race to the Top.
Right.
Homebase will be one of the products that we get to keep after that money goes away. The technology system has two components. One, it replaces an old system that we used to have called NCWISE. It is a system where teachers record just basic demographic information about students. They take attendance. They keep their grade books there. They're able to use it for lesson planning. And parents can actually access that part of Homebase.
Really?
So if I'm a parent and I want to see how my student is doing, then I have access through a parent portal to go in and look at the teacher's grade book where it just is in relation to my child.
Boy, remember, I was coming up in the 50s and early 60s, if we got in trouble and thought we were going to get an F, we'd just make it into a B and hand it to our parents. You can't get by with stuff like that anymore.
Oh, you can't do that now.
I tell you what, not that we would ever advocate that, of course. Now, since testing is a big issue, we've already alluded to trying to assess these things, and June and I talked about tests. Give me a couple examples of tests that students are taking so the parents know what's going on.
Without getting too technical, there are three kinds of tests that students take. Two of those, one is formative and one is interim or benchmark. Formative is anything a teacher does in her classroom in order to know if students are learning just in time.
Gotcha.
So that she can change instruction if it's not working.
And then the others?
Benchmark is a test that a school system may give quarterly to see overall if students are learning so that they can make different strategic adjustments if necessary. Then the other kind of tests that are given in our schools are end of year or end of course. Now those are the tests that we use at the state to see how schools are doing. And we use those to populate the school report card so that parents in a community can know how their school performs.
And when you talked earlier about parents who could go online and look at these various things, is this in real time or is there a lag time? I mean, if you have a quarterly test, I mean, how soon can the parents check on it?
Normally, and this is a change year, normally in August, our parents will get student reports home based on how students performed that year. We have a delay this year because we had all new assessments.
The new stuff. Rebecca, right. I really appreciate you coming down from Raleigh. I know you were busy, and thanks for making this trip to tell us about this, because this is an important component. You know, it can't work unless the parents are behind it.
So we have to have parents.
Thanks so much for doing this. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Well, that's it for this special edition of Triad Today. For more information about some of the topics we discussed, as I said earlier, you can visit the website ncpublicschools.org. In the meantime, again, we urge parents to stay informed and stay involved in your child's education. For State Superintendent Dr. June Atkinson, I'm Jim Longworth. See you next week for another edition of Triad Today.